My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Alrighty, it is Sunday, August 4th, 2024. If you would like to understand the P.O.C, this is it. This is where the fake sun rises, where I'm located, essentially. But this is speaking to impossible that the sun is at 9:46, going to be in its zenith over the top of anyone's head at 2642 Newport Boulevard in Costa Mesa. The entity is rising a fake sun where you can see through the windshield of this vehicle of this demon-possessed third party that's parked in a relevant position, group stalking where the specific environment is, and you also know that this third party is demon-possessed in the demonic environment amongst engineered light that's both present at during the day, as you also know, and at night. This is the specific environment where at 7:47 in the morning, and it's not possibly any sunrise through my living room window at Alvarado Gardens, as I documented on a daily basis, aiming what's supposedly sunlight, right? And I want you to see as I open the door, that's entirely demonic and it's impossible, okay? That's speaking to what is a pattern of conduct. This is engineer light, all manner of engineer light. As I open and close the door, everybody here is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. As you can identify the environment, that's nothing but a stalker in the parking lot, and that's the fake sun. All right, here's my shadow that is upright, and this demon that I'm going to document right now, they open their door at the moment that I press record. That's a demon and not the stalker. And this is engineer light on the ground. It's also how you know. This is third-party group stalking and a sex offender that's monitoring inside of a private space, as are all of them. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is a light source, and that's not in alignment with the Alvarado Gardens, apartment number 1806, number 6. It is the pattern of conduct, however. And this is the property of Motel 6. This is P.O.C. This is a demon opening and closing doors with simultaneous operation of my phone. That's an impossible occurrence. That's a demon-possessed person that's engaging in stalking with activity. And that's also a sex offender. Okay. This is monitoring. I want to be clear, not only monitoring, invading the privacy, stalking. Okay, and also engaging in what is a sex offense. Being molested last night with engineer light was a sex offense committed by all of the entity. This is my shadow appearing above. None of this is sunlight. This is all for what is the monitoring purposes of Motel 6, okay, and the monitoring purposes of the people of the state. This is all impossible light activity. This is my shadow down here, and it's also up here. And as I open and close the door, this is speaking to the massive light activity. This is entirely demonic, and it's impossible. And it's also impossible not only on its face, it's impossible because the sunrise is supposedly happening every day through the living room window at 1806 North Alvarado. So then you're understanding that's not the sun that was outside of my living room window as I documented. That's where LAPD was stalking. That's how you identify stalking. And it's of a demonic nature because of the demonic environment and also the demonic behaviors of the people of the state. This is what the state of California is engaging in. And that is the prosecution of Motel 6, the people of the state. That's the prosecution of the Monrovia Police Department, the Arcadia Police Department, the Montclair Police Department. You understand what's over the Montclair Metro Nissan. You understand what's over my vehicle when I'm on the 710 freeway. You understand the condition of all of those people in that environment. That's how you're recognizing federal group stalking and monitoring. And it is of the demonic. This is out of hell. This is demonic. This is impossible light activity. The light is literally zigzagging behind. And the entity is also engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. Remember, this is engineered light, distinct from the fake sun. This has nothing to do with the fake sun. In addition to that, you also know that it's not the sun because this is not a sunrise that's going to have a sun over Costa Mesa at Best Western. And it's also not a sunrise that can coexist with what I documented through the windows of my Alvarado Gardens apartments, where there was a sunrise and a sunset. That's how you know that Dominic Choi and Ronald Lawrence and Don Barnes, Karen Bass, their condition and their criminal conduct. This is a pattern of conduct shared by the state of California, a population. You have department-wide criminal activity and demon possession. It is currently 7:52 a.m. This is the pattern of conduct, and this is the perpetual sex offense. This is monitoring and federal stalking in a private space, and that shall be prosecuted as a sex offense committed by an entity that includes the people of the state and the state itself. Okay? This is P.O.C.
Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state. And it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. August 4th, 2024, it's 10:16 a.m. This is documentation of the prosecution, the criminal prosecution based on the documentation of an American citizen who is remaining under criminal surveillance by the state of California. So this is a public entity that's engaged in what is a matter of public corruption, while criminal surveillance and group stalking, which is demonic activity, is underway by a government that's inherently corrupt, obviously, engaging in criminal activity and also doing so with its criminal activity that's not just the government doing it. The government is doing it in concert with the very constituents of the state. That's what group stalking is. This system is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring, which is specifically denote the fact that it is pursuant to not only criminal stalking on a group basis, so this is the government and the people of the state are in the shoes of the government because it's the government's criminal activity, the government's criminal pattern of conduct, and it is also federal stalking, where surveillance is not only physical with regard to physically stalking you, which is not only by person, it is also with an environment. This is light that is stalking. This is noise that is stalking, which is demonic. And they're also engaged in stalking, if you will, federal stalking on the venue of the internet, which is in violation of existing federal law, Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. And so this is, again, identifying that pattern of conduct, capturing what is a scientific impossibility, what is, in other words, absolutely impossible to be the case, as NASA would corroborate, because NASA cannot also
At the same time, NASA cannot reconcile what it is that I've captured as a matter of video documentation for the prosecution of the state of California and for the exposure of Satan as I'm exposing the demon possessed in the state of California who are engaging in demonic activity, which is criminal in nature. All right. And federal group stalking and monitoring is the criminal system, the purpose of engaging in this, which is satanic. It is that which is intended. You're group stalking as an entity because you are conspiring together to sacrifice, that is murder, and kidnap someone, doing it permanently. And so either ending your life permanently or kidnapping you permanently. The entity that is engaging in demonic conduct, stalking, and surveilling you every aspect of your life criminally in the United States, the reason why, and also the relevant aspect, the fact that it's demonic, is based on the ongoing purpose. The objective is to murder this person. They're doing it with regard to their demonic rituals, with regard to their their satanic objectives. And this is with regard to sacrificing people that are not of that condition, sacrificing, for example, Christians, sacrificing people that are not of that same condition. This is the source of, this is the reason why you're being targeted. And so this is demonic at its core. And you can also see the evidence of what is demonic through the very criminal pattern of conduct that I've documented. And you are looking at, as I go from different regions, if I go to cities that I've never even been to, or at least I haven't been to in years, and the pattern of conduct, which is clearly shown through an environment that NASA cannot reconcile. And what do I mean by that? When I am at the Ovid Family Community Library, when I am at the Ontario Police Department at this time of year, August of 2021, the entity is maintaining a fake sun over the Ontario Police Department, which is on video. And there is no sun. There's only one sun. And that's why I use that language, because the sun, there's only one, and it is exclusive with regard to seeing that object. In the same way that you see it over me at the Metro Nissan building, you do not see the object over the Honda building, which is across the street. The sun is not over everyone everywhere. The fact that you can, from for example, the parking lot of the Montclair Mall, and I'm referencing the documentation captured yesterday, which was August 3rd, 2024, and you could see the light source directly over my head as I am standing in front of Metro Nissan in Montclair, California. It doesn't even look like the sun, first of all. You can scrutinize every aspect of it. First of all, the light source, which is not the sun, this light source is hovering. It's hunkered down way, very, very low, close to the earth. It's right above the building. It's hovering right over the edge of the building. That's not characteristic of the sun, which we've been told is a gaseous ball of fire, and that it's so intense. If it was actually the sun, we would be set on fire. And I have hundreds of videos of the demon-possessed group stalkers that are the state, these terrorist organizations that call themselves law enforcement agencies. This is the system that Satan is engaging in, carrying on in the United States, such that we are appearing on the surface as a free society. And actually, we are under a surveillance state, and it is Satan's operation of a surveillance state it's already in effect. And so that's what this is exposing, the fact that Satan is, first of all, Satan is real. If you have a problem with acknowledging this is a fact, and the P.O.C is establishing that, and it's also in line with Scripture, the Bible, the Word of God. But this is something that's not requiring some pontification and sitting around and debating about what it is that you believe and what you assent to, because actually it's legally irrelevant. This is serving for a prosecution, and no federal court is going to refuse or unreasonably disregard what is evidence, that is evidence of the demonic, which is not based on what you choose to believe. It's not based on that. And this is, by the way, the P.O.C is providing evidence that no one can reasonably disregard. You are continuing to your own demise, I will. And that is of your own volition. You have a choice to do so. We make a choice every day about who we're going to serve. I'm prosecuting a whole entity that has made a decision about who they will serve. And because they are serving Satan, they're all losing together. All of them. Okay, and the entity is engaging in what is conduct, that the evidence of that conduct is also the evidence of the reality of Satan, the ways in which you can perceive Satan, who is a spirit, and also the ways in which you can be made aware of those that are of that demonic spirit, that are literally possessed by the spirit of Satan. Demon possession is what I'm referencing, and it is the pattern of conduct. The demon possessed are engaging in an identical behavioral pattern, which is also providing
something that is amazing, because you are aware of the personality defect. You're aware of the secrets of those government actors that are demon possessed as well. While I'm documenting the demon possessed who surround me, engaging in identical pattern of conduct, you know the mental illness of the demons who are stalking in helicopters, and it's department wide. You also know the same condition of those that are in positions where this public corruption is occurring on their watch, which you are not reasonably able to contend that you're ignorant about a pattern of conduct shared by a population, including companies that are affiliated with your office, where you have a responsibility of said departments, and you are at the least derelict, but you're not derelict. This is beyond that. This is demon possession, and this is going up and exposing government leaders whose mind state, whose mental illness, whose secrets, the fact that they serve Satan is also fully exposed. And by the way, because the government is engaging in what is a demonic system, which is the root cause of this public corruption, criminal conduct, the threat to the lives of American citizens, lawlessness, okay, public safety concern is thereby created. You are making relevant, legally relevant to the public safety, the fact of demon possession, and that is becoming a basis for immediate disqualification based on not only the derelict, but this is not derelict. Let me be clear. Federal group stalking and monitoring is occurring because people are very diligently engaging in this system. It's not dereliction of duty. This is not occurring where no one knows that the helicopters that are in the possession of the Los Angeles Police Department are flying over my head, flying over Alvarado Gardens, all around me in my office 25 to 35 times a day. Oh, Dominic Choi is not ignorant about that. You're not. You're not ignorant. And let me be clear, Dominic Choi is very possible flying the helicopters. That's how much involved and knowledgeable the entity is with regard to this criminal system that is unmistakable. And it is not reasonable to contend that you are ignorant about a pattern of conduct that the state and the people of the state are mirroring, are engaging in. That is the removal of a substantial amount of leaders who are corrupt by virtue of the criminal conduct of those under their leadership. Disqualification based on your knowledge that they're also demon possessed, not just derelict, demon possessed and corrupt. So this is documentation of that evidence, and I am on the bottom. You will see the video documentation which I captured today. It's August 4th, 2024 when I'm capturing this video. And again, right now it's 10:25 and I'm going to capture additional video of where I was at yesterday in Sherman Oaks, which I was juxtaposing with my location in where you see up at the top, Best Western, in Costa Mesa. That's Orange County compared to Los Angeles County. And I am right now in Arcadia, down here at the bottom. And I captured this video at 9:43. The entity is sounding sirens. This is referred to as criminal summoning. Everything that is happening in a demonic environment, which is a scientific impossibility, that the sun is rising through my living room window at Alvarado Gardens, over the hillside, where 1826 Lobdell Place would like to contend that they're not a demon, that they're not a third-party group stalker, that they're not facilitating state surveillance, and that they're not engaged in Title 18 federal stalking, which is a basis for them to go to federal prison, a basis for them to, under no circumstances are they avoiding being prosecuted as a terrorist in California and being published for the nation and also for the world to observe regarding the fact that they are a convicted terrorist in the United States, and that criminal record is going to follow them, and there will be reverberating consequences for that. Okay? They would like to contend that that's the sun over them over the hillside, like I documented for months and months and months and months and months. It's already sitting on the record. And then you are witnessing the, as I refer to it, the intellectually impotent who surround in relevant position. Who fill room 232, a demon-possessed group stalker, who is a sex offender that is aware of the fact that my genitalia is exposed, and while I'm relieving myself, that is when the demon engages in amplified audible activity. That demon-possessed group stalker is in a specific environment, speaking to the sexual violence that they are gratified as a demon-possessed. That's a terrorist. The demon-possessed is synonymous with terrorism because the demon-possessed are group stalking and harassing as an entity in the shoes of the government, which in this video at the bottom is sounding sirens while engineer light fills my hotel room, an impossible occurrence, not only on its face because sunlight, the result of what is the sun that you can see outside of my hotel room, which is also impossible because the sun is allegedly, that's what was over my head at Best Western, at least on video, because there's no room for a debate about where I'm at, where this light source is in its zenith over the top of my head in Orange County, which is not going to be seen
through the outside of my hotel room over the parking lot, hovering in alignment to meet the parking lot, as though sunlight is going to hit underneath the structure in Arcadia, California, inside of room 130 at the same time at 9:46 a.m. and creating multiple shadows on the inside, heightened, magnified in size, while you're looking at the significant presence of those who are stalking, identifying the conduct, the demons who are engaging in very specific conduct, while the demons are sounding sirens. That's state action and third-party action. And it's also sexual violence while they're engaging in surveillance and federal stalking, waiting until the moment that you're physically indisposed to engage in activity creation, because the demon possessed are violent sex offenders, which you also see when they are molesting me, which is also terrorism and also harassment as a demon possessed entity that's engaging in criminal surveillance. The demon possessed like to also molest my body. They're not only obsessed with stalking me, they're also engaged in what is stalking and molesting. They like to engage in, as I prefer to it, because that's exactly what it is, and that is going to be prosecuted as a sexual violence that it is, based on the predatory mind state. The demons are obsessed and consumed with, they have to touch me. They have to make sure that they surround me with light. They have to touch all over my body. When you are touching on my buttocks, you're touching on my thighs and my breasts, you're touching on my face, you're touching on my person in any way you don't have the consent to as a stalker, with anything, with any part of your body, let alone any extension of your body, let alone while demon possessed stalkers are doing so through demonic methods such as engineered light, which is, again, not naturally occurring. It's a demonic invention for purposes of malicious stalking and supernatural methods, because the government is practicing demonic activity and wants to falsely depict the targeted individual that fails in their ability to even articulate what's happening and what's happening all around them, wants to falsely depict them as being some sort of paranoid schizophrenic. And so this is why you have what is directed light? Nobody's ever heard of it. That's what the P.O.C. serves for. This is the work of Satan, and it is designed to psychologically torture and kidnap, that is murder, an American citizen. And while the demons, including the demons that work for for Best Western, but I'm in Motel 6 in Arcadia, they're going to federal prison, while Engineer Light fills my hotel room, which you see on video, and while the entity is right now filling my hotel room with Engineer Light. And again, what I documented in the video. And so that's speaking to the lawlessness, and the employee of Best Western, the Best Western, I keep saying Best Western, I mean Motel 6 right now. I've already documented Best Western. That's just a sample of what the whole state of California is engaging in. And yes, the employee workspace, I documented that they're all going to federal prison. I'm at another venue, the same pattern of conduct, where you are engaging in criminal surveillance and federal stalking with the government. That's very serious criminal conduct. It's terrorism. And like Osama bin Laden, a terrorist from afar, is prosecuted to the furthest extent, conspiring and actually murdering people. That's what they're doing in the U.S., and that's not a small thing. You're going to federal prison. So I'm at another venue, and the entity is engaging in terrorizing, psychologically torturing, filling my hotel room with engineer light, even while I'm speaking. And the employees at Motel 6 are going to federal prison. Everybody at this venue is going to federal prison. Every single last one. The entity engaged in criminal summoning, that is the basis for a federal prison, and that's the whole hotel, the whole venue. You have a demon that's sitting in their truck, aware of the fact that I document. So it's not a coincidence in the specific environment. Well, you're engaging in high-level conduct, and I don't want to mean high level as though highly intelligent. I mean it's high level with regard to the numerosity, with regard to the demonic level of conduct. It's not highly intelligent. It's not sophisticated. Any sex offender, any release from the county jail can come and participate in group stalking me, which is also why I'm going to prosecute the people of the state and the state of California. That's also why. So let me get this demon that's in the vehicle, because they're going to federal prison. Hold on. Yeah, license 6UZK530. And let me show you what they look like while they're group stalking. This is the P.O.C. Engineer light on the side of the car. Engaged in criminal summoning, and they're going to federal prison. And let me show you the fake sun that's over me here. You can see it through their windshield. And it's also not at Best Western. Okay, they're going to federal prison. Sex offenders. Okay, but the whole property is. And this is also how you know that they're group stalking. Here's engineer light, multiple shadows, impossible light activity. They're sitting in their car engaging in surveillance while the entity is filling the inside of my hotel room on this wall, which you can see up here as I open the door. Impossible light activity has nothing to do with the sun. You see the structure? There's engineer light on the structure itself. No sunlight is coming underneath structures, coming into the doorway, onto the ceiling. This is heavily documented P.O.C., okay? They're very highly unintelligent around here. You're talking about what is just
plain desperation. So the entity has a line of engineered light that's also moving while demons are stalking in the parking lot. So they start their vehicle, which is audible activity. They're monitoring. I just so happen to open my door, so they move quickly than they would if I hadn't opened my door. The demons are stalking, engaging ongoing criminal invasion of privacy by an entity. It's corporate invasion of privacy by entity, while the entity is engaged in group stalking, and they're all engaged in federal stalking, and they're going to federal prison. Just want to document that. But I want to be clear, the entity is doing so on an ongoing basis. Just want to make sure I still have the video captured. And so you see the fake sun, it's 10:32 right now. This is relevant for two things that I'm going to capture at the same venue, Best Western, which you see here. I captured video at Best Western at 10:33 in the morning. I captured video at 10:33 at Sherman Oaks as well. And yesterday at Courtyard by Marriott. You saw the fake sun right now, and it is not going anywhere. It's right over my head where you see the demon possessed. That's the ability to recognize both the criminal conduct and the condition of those who are group stalking. Let me be clear. Group stalking is a matter of what are monitoring spirits. Only the demon possessed. It's very exclusive. It is as exclusive as the sun. There's only one. There's only one condition that's engaged in group stalking, and it is the demon possessed. So the state of California, you have a massive amount of people, and that is speaking to, there's no exception, they're all group stalking. The entire population is engaged in group stalking is what I'm showing, but it's speaking to the times that we're in, and you have heavy duty group stalking in the state of California, which is speaking to the times. Not only are the government leaders demon possessed, they serve Satan. This is speaking to the condition of our government. What is the corruption of the inherent corruption of the justice system, the civil justice system, and the entity is engaging in criminal conduct, and it is statewide. Okay, and I show that as I go from Orange County to Los Angeles County to San Bernardino County, by the way. And this is already documented on the record. The P.O.C. is filled with evidence of of this criminal system that I remain subject to, as I documented it for the world to witness, for my ability to prosecute from 2018 to 2022. As a matter of video and podcast and images. Picking up the documentation because I was kidnapped in 2022, which is the objective of the entity, and I was documenting the entity that was kidnapping me the whole time, and everybody engaged in that kidnapping is going to federal prison. Everybody engaged in that kidnapping was engaged in this same exact criminal system, and this is how the demon possessed are working against each other. There's no longer a teamwork that's helping them accomplish murdering, but because they're still engaging in it. But this is also revealing the mental illness of the demon possessed. You're not even achieving your objective. The only one who's being tormented is while a demon-possessed sex offender is gratified and creating amplified audible activity, they're going to federal prison. So what is it that you're winning? You're talking about a demon, the destructive mindset, the despicable and disgusting internal secrets that they have, while I'm fully exposing them. And you're talking about what is not a genuine. There's nothing victorious. This is the same thing that you see when the demons get on video and they anticipate. Let me be clear. They know exactly what I state when I call these demons that are not legitimate law enforcement agencies cowards. So you'll have another one. And this is some sort of show of not being a coward because you're showing the world that you're stalking an American citizen. This is the inability to actually rationalize. This is how far the mental illness has gone. This is the public safety concern because there is no show of bravado. There is nothing brave. There is nothing that you are established. There's no valid point in going through and stalking on video because the target individual spoke the truth. You are a coward stalking a woman. You are a coward serving Satan. You're not even a real men and women. You're certainly not legitimate law enforcement agencies violating the law, engaging in criminal activity, and then wanting to maintain the posture as though you are anything but that you are of any place of authority, that you are of any legitimate position whatsoever, that you are in any position to where you should be honored and respected, because you're not. You're everything but that, and that's why you don't get that. You hear the truth spoken about you on this podcast, and you will see and hear the truth spoken about you in all the video and images, because that's the truth of what you're Satan-serving demons. And you will go and you're going to burn in hell if you do not repent. But on this side of eternity, you are going to be prosecuted and you're going to be exposed by name. Engineer light moving across my ceiling while the demon possessed listen to me speak the truth about their condition and about their future. This entire property of Motel 6, okay, this gutter 2-star motel with roaches. They're all going to federal prison. And I'm going to civilly and criminally prosecute Motel 6, the employees of Motel 6. She's overweight. She's got tattoos on her gut that she was showing as I captured her group stalking on camera yesterday evening after an entity flew over my head by airplane and I walked into the office and a demon surrounds me by walking behind me. They're all going to federal prison. Every single last one of them are going to federal prison. So the entity is keeping a fake son here, and that is prefacing what it is that I documented. And the demonic activity occurs with simultaneity to what I do as I do it. That's the sex offender. They're obsessed with my genitalia. They're obsessed with my aura because I have the Holy Spirit, and they want to sacrifice my physical person. Understand Satan in that objective. Understand that. They are obsessed sexually, okay? They're obsessed physically. They want to be where I'm at. Even when I was sleeping outside on the sidewalk, which served God's purposes. It wasn't because I cannot take care of myself. It's not because I'm incompetent as an attorney. It's because the entity, the people of the state were my employer, who were harassing me, who were unlawfully and inappropriately dismissing me as I reported it to HR, who are the people of the state. Heather Till Speaker Companies fully demonstrated that, reminded the entity that's going to take over this case exactly what I was subject to while practicing law. And the demon possessed have taken the oath and are practicing law, the California bar, because I was surrounded by them. The demon possessed were engaging in this pattern of conduct before helicopters and all of that got into the mix. And because I was aware of it, the more I document, as I'm speaking to now, the more truth that I speak regarding Satan, regarding the reality of Satan, regarding who Satan is using, regarding all of Satan's secrets, regarding Satan's servants, such as the government leaders, the demon possessed react. And it is reaction through the engineer light, through the amplified audible activity, through the demonic pacing, because that's what they're doing right now. If I open my door, the demons are pacing. It's traffic. It's a demon walking to the ice machine. No, that demon is pacing. That's a highly passive-aggressive, demon-possessed group stalker. That level of passive-aggressive conduct, that's a psychopath. That's a threat to the public. That's the type of person that conceals weapons and goes in and shoots people in a building for no reason. That's the mind state behind the demon-possessed who are group stalking. That's a threat. And because they have not done that, and let me be clear, that's been reported many times on the news. They're not talking about the condition of those that are doing that. But I want to be clear, because the demon possessed as an entity has not gotten to as an entity, there are many people that are engaging in conduct, and you're making exceptions in your mind. Oh, this person did it because of this. They have that motive. This is what happened in their background. This is what happened before they engaged in that crime. This is what they were going through emotionally. Let me tell you something. People are going through everyday life every day, like I am, okay? I will never go around targeting someone. I will never serve Satan. I would never go around shooting anyone, murdering anyone. That's never going to happen, and I can say that. As a fact, that will never happen, okay? It is not an excuse. This is a condition based on who you serve that literally foretells the things that you will do and the threat that you pose based on, and the P.O.C is simultaneously serving the public good because I'm letting you know about what's wrong with these criminals who are group stalking and the mind state that they do not want you to know about. That is the mind state of a predator that rapes babies, rapes little children, and targets the children, tries to silently threaten them, but nobody else knows that that child is subject to that level of a threat. They're isolating them, trying to control their mind and keep them silent while outwardly conducting themselves. It's their uncle or something, outwardly conducting themselves as they love that little child. And they're just, patting them on the head and they're just smiling in their face when they're actually, if you're aware of how sexual violence works, how pedophiles work, they maintain a mindset to control that child and also to threaten them in the presence of others, actually. But it's communicating a threat to that child, which they comprehend, they recognize. And it also works to keep them silent, and they suffer in silence. It torments them. That is the mindset of the third party and the state acting group stalker, the demon possessed, when they're group stalking. The outward malicious engagement of what's supposed to appear as everyday society, and it's not. It's the mind state of those who conceal weapons, and they go in and they shoot up buildings. They kill people, mass amounts of people, in the name of Allah. Okay, and this is what we were told, by the way, by our government that's monitoring us. Nonetheless, that is an iteration of the P.O.C. That's the work of Satan. In the name of Allah, in the name of religion, you're crashing planes into buildings and murdering people. That's the demon possessed. The true and living God is not calling anyone to murder other people. No, mass murders in order to sacrifice to. No. That's the work of Satan. Okay, so the entity is engaging in a very specific pattern of conduct. And you are learning a lot about the mind state while the entity maliciously engages in terrorism in the United States. And it is a public safety concern. Demons are calling themselves law enforcement officers. They're getting specials on ABC News. ABC is a group stalker. The fake sun is over me while I'm driving by their building on the, I want to say the 134 freeway off of Forest Lawn, whichever freeway that is. They're group stalking. The fake sun remain over me and I'm driving right by ABC. ABC is the people of the state. If I walk right into that building, guess who's going to be engaging in the demonic behavior pattern? The demon possessed who are reporting the news to you. Satan is reporting the news to you. Okay? So I'm stating all that, prefacing all of that with the maintenance of the light source, which you just saw at 10:32, while the demon possessed are engaging in surveillance. There's sex offenders that are obsessed with my genitalia. They're obsessed with everything. They're obsessed with my new body, which is why they've engaged in kind of placing cameras so that they can watch me remove my clothes, which is spiritually significant as well. The demon possessed thinking that they can suck your energy out. It's entirely demonic. It's entirely demonic. And I want to be clear, the one whom the Lord has designed, has armed to combat what Satan is doing, all of their witchcraft, all of their demonic tactics do not work. You're essentially a terminator in the spirit, and it will not work. And I'm here to let you know about what Satan is doing in the state of California. All their witchcraft and their acts to sacrifice, they will not succeed. They did not succeed and they will not succeed. I am going to remain, and I'm going to tell you about every single last demon, even down to their name and the position that they hold and how they need to be removed immediately. And it's based on the criminal conduct that's established beyond a reasonable doubt. This is not just me having a podcast just talking about, oh, the Lord showed me this and I have no evidence about it. That's not what this is. The entity is engaging in criminal conduct, and it's demonic in its nature, and it's the whole population. That is implications for the rest of the country, by the way, the entire state. And guess what? I don't have to go up to, for example, even though I've been up to Oakland and the entity was group stalking, including my own flesh and blood. But again, your family is not your flesh and blood, in case you did not know. And I'm specifically those who have an ear to hear. Your family is not based on those that are blood related to you. Your family are the ones, like Jesus said, the one who does the will of my Father. That's my mother and brother. Okay? That's who my family is. And that's where you have to get up out of this carnal, because that's where Satan wants you to dwell. And that's a trap. Okay? My family would not be sacrificing me with the state of California. That's not my family. All right. So the entity is engaging in a very specific pattern of conduct, and doing so while all of this is known through the mind state, the mens rea, as you would refer to it legally, as you are seeking to understand it, as you're training your eyes to recognize the demonic environment, the crime scene, because the feds can prosecute it. Okay. So the entity is engaging in a pattern of conduct. And while the light source is over me in Costa Mesa, which is what you see at the top, on August 2nd at 9:46 in the morning, the entity is sounding sirens while I'm in Arcadia, California. That's nowhere near the entrance of Best Western. Let's go back again where I'm walking from. I'm walking out.
It is 9:46 a.m. This is the fake sun that's directly over the Best Western. Remember, I captured video at 10:30. This is indeed where the sun rises. The entity engages in the tactic that I captured in LA. As the evidence of the supernatural, the ability to recognize that this is a demonic imitation. A demonic imitation of the natural environment. This is the ability to recognize Satan. As I've shown you, first of all, if you're out in Louisiana somewhere, we are not looking at the same thing. This is not possibly the sun. First of all, the object itself, it's hunkered down over the building. That's not the sun. It doesn't even, this is just requiring you to pay attention. All I'm doing is causing the world to pay attention because we're not paying attention. That, first of all, that's the first layer of the problem. You're just not paying attention. Okay, that's not the sun that's hunkered down directly above the building. The gaseous ball of fire, we've all been told about it, right? That would set this building on fire if that was the sun. In addition to that, the demons who are stalking and playing in helicopters, they fly right over it, under it, through it. That's not the sun. It's a light source. It's, in other words, indicative of the presence of Satan, where Satan's system is underway, showing who Satan is focused on. That's why the fake sun and the fake moon at night is over me. Where, by the way? That's the crime scene. In addition to the behavior of those in that remarkable environment, that environment that's a scientific impossibility. And it's highly unlikely that the sun is rising and setting at the same place. And at night, that's where the moon is also. That in and of itself should draw your attention. And where you're understanding and recognizing the demonic, which is not outside of the jurisdiction of the federal government to prosecute because it's spiritual in nature, the spirit is being brought into the tangible existence so that you can recognize it. This is not impervious to prosecution. It's not impervious to a federal investigation. Lives are being taken where the demon possessed are engaging in this ritualistic system. So it's very much
within the jurisdiction of the federal government. And this is literally a PSA also for the world to pay attention to listen. But I'm also speaking to what is very much necessary. It's an urgency. Okay, it's beyond time, because people have been losing their lives while the government's murdering them, and then calling it a day's work, calling it, for example, a crime, an unsolved mystery, suicide, calling it the death penalty. You name it. This is what the state is doing. Okay, so the entity is engaging in this system and doing so while a very specific behavioral pattern is underway in this specific environment. This is how you're recognizing the specific environment. It's not just the placement of the fake sun. For example, I'm a Christian. I am a born again, Holy Spirit filled and sealed. Satan cannot possess me. Satan can't change my mind. Satan can't distract me. Okay, all Satan can do is literally cause me to go even harder in documentation. What do I mean by that? When I speak in the vernacular, I mean to become even more diligent, perhaps work a little harder than I ordinarily would if they want to go and be extra diligent, if you will, with the amplified audible activity. I might walk out and get everybody in the parking lot. That's how I transmute that energy. Okay, so other than that, Satan is already lost. You're talking about what city I go to, the federal government automatically knows the police departments, the sheriff's departments, every fire department, every hospital where the demons are driving around in ambulance. All of this is spoken to when I'm documenting the P.O.C. The foundation is already laid. There is no anonymity when you hear sirens, like you will in this video below, at the same time when I'm in Costa Mesa, but I'm showing you at the same time below the light sources over me in Arcadia versus Costa Mesa. Go ahead and look at a map, because the sun is not maintaining in its zenith in the same manner at Arcadia, literally at all, anywhere in Arcadia. You clearly see it over the building of Best Western. That's where it's at. In the same way that it's not over the Orange County Fair. It's not over that field. It's not over that location. It's over Best Western. This is very clear. This is very clear. This is not rocket science. Okay, it's not over the Over Family Community Library while you see it over me at the Best Western. This is why you capture video, because you will not be debating with a liar, which is what Satan is. A liar is every demon-possessed person. Okay, the entity is engaging in a very specific pattern of conduct, which everyone can see with their eyes, and everything that you hear in that environment is aiding the criminal system of federal group stalking and monitoring. All right, and so this is the
criminal summoning. See the impossible light activity?
First of all, the fake sun, well, let's not even refer to it as the fake sun. The sun is over the Best Western at 2642 in Newport Boulevard. So it is impossible light activity on its face, because no position of the sun in Orange County at the same time is going to create sunlight inside of my hotel room in Arcadia. Secondly, it's impossible light activity because of the trajectory of the light. You will see the structure outside of the door. The walkway is covered. There is no sunlight that's bending underneath covering of the, bending underneath the structured coverway. Those are placed there because it's designed to be shaded. It's designed to be shaded for the convenience, for your convenience. In the demonic environment, you will find that the engineered light is creeping underneath structures. It's the demonic in front of your face. The demons drive in it, they walk in it, they dance in it, they sing in it, they put their kids in it. They're monitoring you, and they're demons who are monitoring you. That's why they're so comfortable in that directed light. They dwell in it. Okay, and they also molest your body with it. They engage in sexual violence with it. As you walk into it, as it's inside of any venue, as it's ricocheting all around, that shall be the prosecution for an exceedingly violent sex offense. Then let me be clear, every facilitating venue, it's going to be very expensive. This is a matter of, because remember, it's a conspiracy to murder and kidnap you. There is no ratio of damages that has ever been legislated under federal law in order to compensate for the harm, the psychological harm that you're suffered while you are aware of it. And I'm aware of it because I'm documenting it. And let me be clear, the ordinary target individual is aware of it, whether they are consciously aware of it, but they're suffering because they know that they're subject to something that's not their doing. It's not their fault. They shouldn't be enduring it, but they also are not sure what it is, but it's very weird, and it's scaring the crap out of them, to be frank. It scares the crap. It's designed to make them question their own sanity. Both the light activity, the audible activity, the behavior of those around them, which is exceedingly violent. The passive aggressive group stalker that keeps their back to you, that looks to the left and right, that's not harmless. That's psychologically torturing. That is very harmful, and it's violent. The entity does that on purpose. And by the way, the federal government knows exactly who you are, Satan, while you do that. That's showing your mental illness. It's not even persuasive. You are surrounded with evidence. And the evidence includes the fact that the passive aggressive stalker is intending to torment the target individual. That's relevant for how long you deserve to sit in a mental facility. You deserve to sit in federal prison. You deserve that criminal record as a terrorist, because this is how Satan is terrorizing American citizens. In other countries, Satan is engaging in causing people to, in the name of Allah, murder other people. That's what Satan is doing in other countries, okay, where they don't have a constitution, whatnot. This in the United States, Satan is working amongst the people of the state, amongst the corrupt government, and murdering and sacrificing people, and doing so under the malicious guise of free society. And it's supposed to appear as the paranoid schizophrenics claim that strangers are stalking them, because that's what the normal person would say. Strangers are stalking them. And that's not inaccurate. That's exactly what's happening. The inability to perhaps intelligently, or more intelligent, because that's not unintelligent for a normal person to say what's happening. Okay, so it takes somebody that's able to more eloquently articulate what Satan is doing, and it shouldn't take that. That's what makes me so angry about it. It shouldn't require that. But I understand this is the work of Satan. So you need a superpower to come in and speak exactly to what Satan is doing, and make sure that they serve all the penalties required for what they're doing to people in secret. That's what's required. That's why this is happening. Because a normal person that would say strangers are stalking them, that's exactly what they're doing. And they're doing it on purpose. They're doing it in the manner that they do it on purpose. So I just want to make sure that you recognize that this is impossible light activity on its face and in substance. Okay, the entity is engaging in what is, and you also know, also through the substance of the P.O.C, I've also shown its engineered light, its directed light, because everything about the environment is engineered. What is distinct from the fake sun is the engineered light. The two do not rely on each other. This is how I'm capturing the engineered light on my ceiling in my bedroom, while the fake sun is outside of the living room window. It has nothing to do with the fake sun, even though you are looking at the fake sun literally outside of the door, and you're looking at the light that's covering all the property. It has nothing to do with the light source. This is breaking up the illusion that Satan has created. And I understand that that might be a far jump, but understand that there are two different methods: the light source in the sky and the light that's covering all the property. It's not even sunlight. This is the significance, the ease with which a population is group stalking you. While they are 2 miles away from me in this hotel, they're group stalking while they just walk outside. It's engineered light. They're all monitoring. It's a massive system that I'm surrounded by. The significance of demons driving a fire truck, driving a police vehicle, driving an ambulance, sounding the sirens, and they're out on Huntington. They're off of Santa Ana, and the sirens are amplified, and they're monitoring me. And they're enabling a population to do so. That's why you go to federal prison, because of the size of the threat, the size of the crime, and the size of suffering by the targeted individual. All right, so this is impossible light activity on its face. The use of sirens is audible activity, and they're monitoring me. It's also the ability to specify what is going on, and it's not a genuine emergency in the specific environment. This is impossible light activity, and the entity is sounding sirens, which is audible activity. It's the outward demonstration of demon possession by the government actors that drive fire trucks, police vehicles, and ambulances. And they're engaged in federal group stalking monitoring, which is demonic conduct. The demon-possessed driving such state vehicles and engineered light. They're monitoring me while I'm inside my private space. And while I'm in here and the door's closed, ongoing scanning of light. A line of light running across this wall while demons are walking in and out. The employee at Motel 6 is going to federal prison, so is he. He's stalking in the path. The sound engineered light on the side of this car, the white car, that's not sunlight. This is engineered light that covers everything. I'm training your eye to recognize the ways in which you can see it here. You see it here, it's what's covering everything, okay? The entity is keeping, you can see the light source through the windshield of this demon with license plate 7ZA561. They're going to federal prison. And the demon that's in the white truck, and they intentionally got in a vehicle with no license plates, they're going to federal prison. They're going to federal prison. Let me be clear. The people of the state, they're going to produce all the information that the federal government requires. And the state itself, they're going to produce the information as well. They're going to find themselves in federal prison. You want to call yourself protecting somebody else? You will go to federal prison, because bodies will be going to federal prison, period. And I guarantee you these demons are going to I'm knocking their heads against each other. These demons are going to turn on each other. There's no honor amongst thieves in this situation. These demons are out for themselves. They serve Satan. There's no loyalty among them. Okay, this whole P.O.C has crashed and burned. You're going to produce the information, period. And there's no mystery. And the fact that you seek to obstruct justice, that is what the federal judge is going to sentence you even more time. That's all you get. You want to play stupid games. You're going to win stupid prizes like more time in federal prison. That's all you're winning because you already lost. So the entity is engaging in keeping a fake sun over Costa Mesa, Best Western, right over my head. And then what is this through the windshield of a vehicle in Arcadia, California? The rear windshield. The windshield that's facing me, speaking to presence, a specific location, okay? That's impossible light activity inside of the hotel. This is impossible light activity on the side of a vehicle. This is all impossible light activity all over the property. If this is the sun in Costa Mesa, there's no sun that would be hovering. The two are mutually exclusive. This is identifying a demon. This is identifying surveillance. This is identifying federal time, okay? It's criminal summoning. And the demon is even monitoring as I walk toward it. Going in reverse is called light activity. Moving the vehicle is called light activity. And you can see the evidence on the vehicle. This is P.O.C. right here, and it's also the perpetual sex offense. You want to keep American citizens under surveillance and engage in federal stalking while they're in a private space, such as a hotel room, such as the bathroom in any third-party or state facilitating venue. Even while you're being kidnapped, you're going to be prosecuted as a sex offender while you're inside of your home. The entity is engaging in the perpetual sex offense. The entity engages in the amplified audible activity while your panties are down. The entity engages in light activity while your panties are down. The entity is keeping a fake sun over your venue all day long, over you while your panties are down. The entity is molesting you with engineer light, touching your person, an unlawful, unconsented to touch, a demonic orgy. Okay? Sexual violence, molesting the person, violent. No demon has a right to touch you with engineer light. And because it's serving a criminal purpose, because you're obsessively stalking me, yeah, you're a sex offender. Okay? And it's not hidden because you employ demonic methods to do so. It's even more egregious. It's more disgusting. It's more perverted. And then they drive off with their kids in the back seat. They go pick up their latte from third-party facilitating venue Starbucks, the demons that are preparing drinks. And then they go to their yoga class. They stop off at the grocery store where the entities flying over my head in helicopters, if I document them. And then they go on to their meeting at the city hall, okay, with the city attorney and the rest of the leaders of the city who are group stalking. That's the P.O.C. in the state of California. The entity is engaging in a very specific environment, and I want you to see the light source because this is the
sirens
P.O.C.
are so that people, all of them in a relevant position, are engaged in P.O.C. stalking, surveillance in the parking lot. 7ZA56L, Arizona is going to federal prison.
And this is captured at 9:43 in the morning. That's the end of the video. The entity is monitoring on my phone, so my videos are stopping. I did not press stop, and I did not run out of space. So this is a continuation of the video.
Alrighty, again, criminal summoning license 7ZA56L. That's criminal summoning, federal prison. And they're group stalking with the entity that's sounding sirens while the fake sun is over me. And
I want to be clear, this demon that's right above me, they're going to federal prison. That's a sex offender, and they're engaging in sexual violence on behalf of everyone. Everybody's going to federal prison here. The entity just engaged in criminal summoning. The entity wants to stalk by helicopter. The entity wants to stalk in traffic with the people of the state. The entity wants to engage in criminal summoning. Everybody goes to federal prison. That's the law, period. That's the law. Everybody is going to federal prison, but I want to be clear. When you go to the private space, this is facilitation. The people put themselves in federal prison when they provide intolerable level of facilitation to the state. You already have no business being a terrorist in the United States. And if you are one and you're not a natural born citizen, you just met the basis for revocation of that citizenship or naturalization. You're out of here. It's un-American. You're out of here. And you are permanently out of here. In addition to that, you, based on the facts and circumstances, you can find many routes to federal prison. They're going to federal prison on the basis of the intolerable facilitation. You check in, and the entity knows that I'm arriving to Motel 6. The demons come, they're filling up all the rooms. I don't care when they got here. The entity knows when the entity has to, oh, no. I've been here for 7 days. I didn't know. That's not what that means. The entity knows where I'm going. The entity is following to wherever it is that I'm going. Okay, I literally get a procession as I go from city to city. Okay, the entity is anticipating where I go. They maintain relevant positioning. Whatever's available to me as a hotel room is a deliberate act for their criminal purposes. Intolerable facilitation, living at the facilitating venue. You want to check into a hotel all night so you can engage in criminal stalking with the government? You want to go to federal prison, period. No negotiation. That's what you want to do. You want to go to federal prison. That's the law. That's exactly what's going to happen to you. So the entity then sounds sirens. You're going to federal prison. You can run off. You can check out. You can run wherever you think you're going. You're not avoiding federal prison. Just like the entity intended for the targeted individual to never escape the pattern of conduct. They didn't even want you to escape with your life. And they didn't want you to escape with your freedom if you happen to live, okay? They don't want you to escape with your right mind, with the freedom that you have in Christ, that it also exists in your spirit and your mind. They want to drug you up with drugs and make you think that you're crazy, okay? Because Satan hates you. Satan hates the fact that you're Holy Spirit filled. Satan hates the fact that you have a destiny, a future with him in eternity. And I mean him as in the Lord Jesus Christ. Satan is going, him and his dark angels are going to federal, or in the natural, they're going to federal prison, but I mean, the demon possessed, if you don't repent, you're going straight to hell. With Satan, that's exactly where he wants you to go. Okay? The entity, and you're the one that is losing. You're losing. You're losing. The whole secrecy is gone. What is it that you're accomplishing at this point? I'm identifying you by departments. I'm naming the heads of your departments, and they're losing those positions. They will be prosecuted as terrorists. You're losing your position as the mayor. This is an unfounded and intolerable level of dereliction of duty. If you want to try to ignore you can ignore it all you want. The world knows that you're demon possessed. The world knows it. So you can ignore that all you want and just claim, well, I didn't know, because you can't refute the you can't even refute the fact that you serve Satan, but you cannot refute the fact that this is occurring on your watch. You're out of your position. You're gone. You're done. Okay. What is it that you're accomplishing at this point? You came for the wrong person, and I am here to identify you by name based on how disgusting you are. What I see you doing, this is what you're doing to people that don't know how to defend themselves. Okay, so this is why you are worthy of everything that's coming for you. And it includes federal prison. It includes a criminal record. It removes permanent removal from politics, permanent removal from law enforcement, the legal profession, the medical profession, all of the above. A criminal record so that everyone knows where you're going as a warning beforehand, like any other terrorist or sex offender would be treated. And that's based on your conspiracy to murder people and to sit around and control the narrative, to take their identity, to take their life, to even try to take their right mind and control the narrative regarding it. Okay? The Lord is not pleased with that. It is currently 11:04 a.m. This is the specific environment. I want you to see the light source. That is not at Best Western in Orange County, contrary to what you see. A video is captured at both at 10:33 in the morning, and I also captured at 10:33 in Sherman Oaks yesterday. The location of this light source that you see over my head in Arcadia, California, right here, is not over Courtyard by Marriott at 10:33 at the same time. As you can see through the windshields of the vehicles that are in the Arcadia parking lot. And it's also not over this same location, because this is exactly where it was at 10:33 as I captured it, I believe, on August 3rd, 2024. Excuse me, August 2nd, because this is, no, I can look to where I got it. This is August 2nd captured. So 10:33, we can get the dates just so I can be precise since I stated the time. But I documented at Best Western on more than one occasion the light source. So you have the light source that is captured. Let me get back to, this is folder number, hold on one second, 139. Those are demons that are monitoring, opening, closing their doors based on my activity on my communication device. They're all going to federal prison. That's impunity. And that's the level of devotion to Satan. I want to be clear, that level of devotion, what that really is a mental illness. That's the level of depravity. That's how lost and deceived they are. They're so lost and deceived that they have walked themselves into federal prison, into very serious criminal records with the government that cannot help them. That's what that's about. But that's audible activity creation while they are aware of what I'm doing on my phone, which is, again, manipulating it so demons are pacing in and out of their rooms using the doors as audible activity creation. So I want to see if I can find the video that I captured at 10:33. And I believe, actually, that was a screen recording. I know what that was. That was a screen recording that I captured, as opposed to I'm going to capture a screenshot of it, because I'm at 49 minutes and I don't want to continue. I'm going to capture a screenshot because what I captured at 10:33 in the morning, which I also have here. Actually, I have it on the record. I should have that one. And if not, I definitely have, because I like to show the evidence of what it is that I'm speaking about. And I do have it. I may have it in a different folder, however, and I don't want to spend a bunch of time looking for that. Let me get this. Screen recordings captured yesterday morning was a screen recording. Yeah. Here, and it's both of them.
Friday, August 2nd, 2024. It's 11 a.m.
Okay, so this is the entity group Stalking. August 2nd, August 3rd, 10:46. Here you go.
Saturday, August 3rd, 2024. And as you can clearly see,
that's at Sherman Oaks. That's where I'm 15433 Ventura. The fake sun is over me, and I'm comparing and contrasting with my location at Best Western. This has both videos in it, as I did a screen recording. This is the fake sun that's over me at the Marriott in Sherman Oaks. And this is where the entity is keeping a fake sun over me here as you can see it, when I am standing in the parking lot in Arcadia, California, where you can see the light source through the windshields of the vehicles. There's no mistaking where the light source is, and that's not the sun. That would be in the same position over me in Sherman Oaks, California, and also while I compared it in Costa Mesa, California, all at the same time. This is the entity keeping the fake sun as I opened it up this morning, and the entity is keeping the fake sun over me. So in this video, remember, I opened my door. The demons are group stalking in the parking lot in the white vehicle. That was at 10:32 in the morning. Same placement of the fake sun here. 10:33 yesterday, I was in Sherman Oaks. And you see it over the demons who are stalking at Motel 6 in Arcadia. This is all captured in this video. And this is the video where I'm comparing my location in Sherman Oaks at 10:33, where this is that 7-Eleven where you see down right there is where the fake sun was setting as I arrived at Sherman Oaks Courtyard by Marriott the evening prior. 6:30 p.m. the fake sun was setting there. But last night when I'm nowhere near Sherman Oaks, the fake sun is over me while I'm documenting the Arcadia police who are group stalking in Arcadia, California, engaging criminal summoning while the people of the state group stalk together via a traffic stop, light activity, relevant positioning, okay? Showing up because I'm documenting the people of the state while they engage in psychotic light activity conduct. And so I go around and get that third party's license plate, absolutely. And as soon as I do that, the demon in the police vehicle who was already group stalking me, he just turns on his lights to engage in criminal summoning. He is going to federal prison. The demon who's being pulled over group stalking with him is going to federal prison. This is the same block, the same city. The light switch is over me at 7:47 in the morning. You witness demonic activity, public corruption. That's the P.O.C. So this is where the entity is keeping the fake sun at Courtyard by Marriott. And this is where I'm comparing it to my location in this video inside of the Best Western. So you can look at
that hotel. They're group stalking.
The people of the state are group stalking via traffic.
They're group stalking at Best Western in Costa Mesa, California. Right outside of the doors.
They're monitoring. Those are demons. This is shaded. There's no light ricocheting off of their cars, beaming light onto the wall inside of the hotel underneath the shaded structure. But you do have the...
First of all, that's engineered light appearing underneath.
I'm giving more analysis. I just want you to see the light source and compare it with Sherman Oaks like I did yesterday. Compare Sherman Oaks, LA County to Costa Mesa, Orange County. Same time. Same position of an alleged sun. That's not the sun. It's impossible.
Because this is what is...
That's the P.O.C. 10:33 in the morning, okay? That's what you saw in this video as I opened up my front door. The fake sun is in the same position right here over me in the parking lot while the demon-possessed are group stalking in this parking lot. Everything that they're doing is pursuant to their knowledge of what I'm doing inside of my hotel room, where sunlight is not going to appear underneath this covered structure, appear underneath these closed blinds, appear in the depths on the floor. As you see, as I walk toward my hotel room, these are demons who are stalking in the path, and all of the evidence surrounds them. And the demon inside of 232 specifically, a sex offender, a demon-possessed one who engages in what is pacing and audible activity creation of a sexually violent nature and purpose on behalf of a whole entity that's a sex offender. That's what the demon-possessed are. And they engage in activity creation. That is, you're monitoring me, and your monitoring is serving a sexual purpose, a sexually perverted, a predatory mindset is required for that. You're going to prosecute the sex offender. That is the state of California. Amplified audible activity while my panties are down, genitalia is exposed, and that's relevant because it's occurring in a specific environment where the sun cannot possibly be present, where sunlight does not engage in this sort of chicanery that I'm documenting. That's all engineered light outside of the building, and this is all engineered light inside. An absolutely impossible and asinine environment where the entity is sounding sirens to monitor, okay? Doing so, facilitating monitoring. And demons that are getting in vehicles with no license plate, that's a threat to my life. That's a threat to my life while demons like this, a sex offender monitoring a woman, stalking a woman, surveilling a woman, sexually violating a woman with the demons that provide amplified audible activity while they all know about what I'm doing with my genitalia whenever I'm doing it, whatever is going on. That's the mindset. That's the secret system. That's the sexual violence that you're going to prosecute, that you're going to expose. And it is the exact same mindset of the demon-possessed that call themselves the mayor, the chief of police, the fire chief, okay, a police officer, a firefighter, okay, the mayor, whatever it is their position, they are at the heads. They're not ignorant about the pattern of conduct. No, they're not ignorant. They're fully engaged in it.
It's thriving. It's occurring. It's ongoing. I've been subject to it for years. The entity seeking to obstruct justice. You're not obstructing justice. But your ongoing criminal purpose to obstruct justice, you're going to federal prison for that. You're talking about removing all manner of people who are sitting in positions because of the purpose of the system to keep itself concealed and to protect itself from exposure and to obstruct justice. That is the intention, to sacrifice that person rather than cease from engaging in that criminal system. You're all losing those positions. You're a threat to the public. Okay? And there serves a public benefit. The world needs to witness your removal. The world, it's for the good of the public that they witness your removal as a matter of justice. Contradictory to, with regard to what the state of California is doing, it is vital that in order to show that there is justice and that there is a response, a necessary federal response with regard to what the state is doing, and it is not tolerable, it's not acceptable, contrary to what it has been doing. The world needs to witness the removal of these corrupt leaders. The world needs to witness the public corruption being prosecuted and exposed. It's necessary. It's a part of the pattern of conduct being prosecuted and exposed. It's a part of what is cleansing this corrupted population. Okay, so it is currently, again, the pattern of conduct is underway while the demon-possessed engineer light is in motion. I documented this at Economy In. They're doing the exact same thing. This is a highly unintelligent, just a demon-possessed and corrupt entity. The engineer light, the shape of the blinds, are moving. And also the line of directed light is dynamic across the wall. And you can see the engineer light. This is light that's shooting backwards behind the door. And this is engineer light that's shooting upwards across. The light is also made dynamic. The more that I speak to what they're going to be subject to, the more light activity is occurring. The entity, that's a communication of a threat. And I'm going to prosecute Motel 6, okay? This clearly very... broken down entity, not only broken down literally in the natural, very poor, but you also broken down in the spirit, okay? Demon possessed, okay? And the filthiness is not only present in the room, it's the filthiness of spirit, filthiness of conduct, okay? And the entity communicates a threat, the entity engages in light activity, the entity engages in amplified audible activity. All right, it is currently, again, 11:14 a.m. This is P.O.C. Currently 7:36 p.m. This is documentation of harassment and terrorism while the entity engages in a perpetual sex offense. That is an entity that's keeping an American citizen, I happen to be a woman, under surveillance. And this includes both males and females of any and all ages engaging in criminal surveillance together. This includes while the targeted individual is engaged in any personal private activity inside of a private space. And they engage in the monitoring, the surveillance conduct. They continue surveillance. They continue invasion of privacy. They continue the specific acts of harassment and terrorism, specifically with knowledge of the fact that that target individual is indisposed, is engaged in a personal private activity. And they also do it pursuant to knowledge of what's going on the internet, which is the federal stalking aspect of the pattern of conduct. And so this is indeed a demon. I captured the fake sun over my hotel room in the same position where it was, for example, in the morning. And remember, I've already shown the body of evidence. The entity is keeping the fake sun on the left side of my person, a general reference to whatever is the east, and then it's setting on the right side of my person, which is a general reference to whatever side is the west. That's how you had the sunrise through the living room window at Alvarado Gardens in my apartment number 6, and the sunset through the bedroom window of my apartment of the same apartment, which is a scientific impossibility that the sun is stationary such that it's seen rising and setting at the same address. That's not the sun. And that is on its face like an absurd imitation of the natural environment, which again, like I've stated, the P.O.C. is very clearly identifiable by anyone that just pays attention. So the demons are engaging in surveillance at Motel 6. This is the civil prosecution for Motel 6. Motel 6 is providing a crime scene where the people of the state can maintain presence all around to practice federal group stalking and monitoring with the government that is together engaging in the sex offense. And the entity has placed third parties who are stalking in relevant position in room 129, where you see the people of the state working at the venue. This was the highly tattooed third-party group stalker engaging in a very equally psychotic
psychotic conduct that the male inside of 129 is engaging in. This is a demon that's engaging in monitoring through amplified sound of laughter, and also beating on the walls. And then the demon, again, different face or the same one. Let me be clear, different venues, same demon. Okay, different face, same exact pattern of conduct, different locations, same specific environment. Okay, this is recognizing the demon possessed who are engaging in the identical pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring, which is a sex offense, while a stalker that is acting through a population, this is the demon possessed, who are engaging in the same identical pattern of conduct, which exposes Motel 6, a third party in illegitimate business that is engaged in criminal activity under the malicious guise of operating a business, which it is not free to do. Nor is it free to help the government and help a population, the people of the state, do so. And paying for the rooms, being on surveillance cameras, accessing the rooms with the key cards, all of this is evidence of criminal activity, which the demon possessed are doing pursuant to the sex offense that they're engaging in while I remain inside of room 130. So the demon that is upstairs in room 232 is engaging in concerted conduct, and this is where the entity, these are the two rooms where the entity is concentrating amplified audible activity while they are using the noise which is amplified inside of my room, which is harassment by an entity that is demon possessed as well. This is also terrorism by an entity that is demon possessed. This is group stalking by an entity that's vicariously acting on behalf of the government, and Motel 6's pockets are going to be drained to the fullest extent based on the criminal conduct that they are engaging in by virtue of extending hotel rooms for this criminal purpose, by virtue of engaging in the same exact criminal activity as the demon-possessed patrons who are maintaining presence in the room. This is how I'm capturing the fake sun, the engineered light, and the psychotic beating on the walls, while the entity is streaming engineered light on the walls inside of my hotel room, which I even captured on video today for you to see it. There's no difference with regard to the specific ID of the demon-possessed person. A different face, perhaps a different function in the natural. In other words, the housekeeper as opposed to the demon that's going to sleep there overnight. Same exact demon possession, same exact group stalking, same exact sex offense, same exact civil prosecution of Motel 6. So I want to be clear, Motel 6, the employees are going to federal prison, and the company is going to be civilly prosecuted, and the people of the state are going to federal prison. The entity is engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct, doesn't matter who's staying in the room. And I'm going to document the harassment and terrorism while a perpetual sex offense is underway. And they're doing so while they're engaged in federal stalking. So it's currently 7:41 p.m. and this is P.O.C. I captured images of the interior of the hotel room of what is number 129. There is nothing that's going to cause you to beat on the walls other than the fact that you're beating on the walls. And that's what that demon was doing. That was cleaning and maintaining relevant position under the guise of cleaning the hotel room. That was a group stalker. Remember, you're not delivering a package. You're engaging in light activity, relevant positioning, and any audible activity. You're not engaging in what the demons want you to focus on, holding a prop or wanting to look as though you are, in other words, exercising some privacy right under the Constitution. And no, you're not. You're not doing any of those things in the specific environment. And this is the entity that's engaging in the malicious pattern of conduct, revealing public corruption. You're not free to get a hotel room, contrary to what the people of the state are doing. And it is the trap that they run into. I mean, at 350 miles per hour, they propel themselves off the cliff, and I capture it day after day after day, and they're going to federal prison for it. This is what the entity does to sexually violate and terrorize and harass as an entity American citizens whom they are stalking, whom they are psychologically torturing, whom they are engaging in their demonic patterns together. This is, remember, a pack of demons that are targeting an American citizen. That's what I'm exposing. And I'm exposing all of the demonic tactics, and then you're going to flip that malice, and you're going to prosecute everybody for that. So while they intend to sacrifice and psychologically torment people, I'm going to put them in federal prison. Okay, so it's currently 7:43 p.m. This is the entity engaging in harassment, and so this is documentation of, again, Arcadia. This is Motel 6 at 225 Colorado Place in Arcadia, zip code 91007, and it's currently 7:43 p.m. This is the criminal activity that's occurring on the watch of the people of the state, Motel 6, who's going to be civilly and criminally prosecuted for it. They're group stalking with the demons who are remaining in the rooms, and this is criminal activity that they will compensate me for. This is why they're extending their business. And remember, it's not just the placement of the fake sun and the engineered light, it's the demonic behavior of the employees.
They're doing the exact same thing that the demon-possessed patrons are doing. So yes, I'm going to charge you for that. And there is no law that currently exists with regard to the ways in which you will compensate the target individual for all the tangible and intangible harms suffered as an entity is using your business that you provide in order to conspire to murder and or kidnap them with the government. All right. So I want to be clear. All of that is relevant while the entity amplifies audible activity, stalks with light activity, keeps a fake son, and is stalking on behalf of the state. This is P.O.C. Hello, this is Erica. I'm calling from room 130. Can I ask who I'm speaking with? Hey, Brandon. I'm calling because there's some disturbance in the rooms, both above me and beside me. So I believe you guys checked in someone different because I didn't hear a male voice. I didn't hear any voice last night, but there's a male in room 129. And I'm not only hearing, like, for some reason, hitting the walls, which I can't even come up with any reason why you would be doing that. I don't find myself at any time touching the walls at all. But also a very loud yelling, like at the top of their lungs. Perhaps it's a large man. Perhaps he just needs to be more conscious about his volume that carries. But it's really loud and it's disruptive. And then that's combined with the patron in room 232 directly above me. And I am hearing as though they're dragging the table that is affixed to the wall in my room, dragging the chairs, which again, I don't know what type of room they have, but there's no space for me to move the table around. The reason why I'm explaining it to you is because I find it to be, it is disruptive, but I also find, I don't even understand unless they're on drugs, I don't know what's wrong, but there's not a lot of space in my hotel room to do all the activities that I'm hearing them doing upstairs. There's of course it sounds like they're stomping, but it sounds like they're dragging a table and chairs. It sounds like they are literally like throwing their bodies on the ground. I don't know, but it sounds very disruptive. So I just thought I would call you. If you could please address this with the patrons that surround me, I would really appreciate it. That would be the room while I'm facing the parking lot, the room to my left, correct, and then the room directly above me in room 232. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. Have a great night. All right, this is the P.O.C, and I'm capturing what is a pattern of conduct. It doesn't matter how fancy, and I put that in air quotes. There's nothing fancy about a demon-possessed group stalker. So whether I'm paying $350 for a room, or whether I'm paying $150, which is too much to pay for, there's roaches here, and I'm disgusted. Not only because these are demons who are stalkers, which is pathetic, but because they have the nerve to have cockroaches charging $150 a night. So the entity is engaging in group stalking. It doesn't matter how quote unquote fancy you think the venue is. These demons are driving around in Maseratis, and guess who they're stalking? They're stalking me, okay? And they're obsessed with what's going on in my panties. They're sex offenders. Why am I telling you this? First of all, because I'm going to prosecute based on this evidence. This is what the ordinary target individual suffers in silence. There is no reason for the target individual to be ashamed of what a bunch of sex offending group, demon-possessed group stalkers are doing. First of all. Second of all, because the entity is engaging in conduct which you are mistaking for something to be envied or idolized. You befriend people that drive Maseratis. You follow them because you think that you need to work where they work and take the path in life that they took. Do you know that they serve Satan? That they're going around stalking the children of God? And they want you to feel like they're important. And they don't even like themselves. Okay? This is the reality of what the demon-possessed will never confess under their fake sun, in their directed light. This is what they'll never confess. So it is as pathetic, okay, when I'm sleeping in very nice hotel rooms, and guess what? The demons are pacing around all around me. They're obsessed with me. And then they walk out of their rooms with their Michael Kors and their Fendi and whatever else that you assign to some sort of sense of nobility and high class. There's nothing classy about a demon or a stalker. I can't stress that anymore. There's nothing impressive about it. The people of the state are pathetic. And they need Jesus. They need deliverance. This is to, if you cannot hear it through literally the way that I'm emoting through my voice, these are the things in life that do not matter. You're a Maserati. You're going to die without it. Somebody else is going to take it. These material things do not matter. And clearly, they do not help you not become a sex offender. Clearly, they don't help you not be a freak weirdo or a stalker. And just because you have not in the natural, since the corrupt government has not created a way to prosecute for the demonic methods of sexually violating people, that does not mean that you're not a sex offender. You are a sex offender based on what you intend to do in your mind. That's what the Lord Jesus is judging, by the way. That's what group stalking is about. The mens rea, the purpose behind what they do, the inexplicable targeting of an American citizen. But this is not even that. Aside from your status, even if I wasn't in America protected and having provisions under state and federal constitutions, you're a human being. You're a child of God. Well, those who have I belong to the Lord Jesus. All of us are made in his image. Not all of us are his children. And you need to actually realize that. And this is scriptural. But I am a child of God as a human being because he loves all of us, whether you are born again, whether you have accepted the Lord Jesus as your Savior. He loves you and he died for your sins. He rose again from the dead so that you can have the free gift of salvation. He loves people. Satan hates people. Satan uses people like whores. Okay, these whores are group stalking at Motel 6. They're flying around in helicopters stalking me. These are whores. Whores for Satan. And Satan is using them up. Satan is not going to help them when they're being prosecuted in federal court. Satan will not provide them any legal argument. Satan will not provide them any hedge of protection. Satan will be nowhere around to help them. Satan is what is going to be literally akin to their name while they're engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct. That's what Satan is doing for them while they bow down to that entity that has made them sex offenders and stalkers and all things despicable and depraved and disgusting. Group stalking. So I just wanted to go through that. This is what the entity is doing on an ongoing basis. It's currently 7:50 p.m. and I'm documenting what is harassment and terrorism as an entity. And it is on the watch of the commercial actors. Every hotel that I go to, it's the same exact pattern of conduct, no matter how many hundreds of dollars I'm paying for the room. This is a lesson. There's nothing impressive about, and there is nothing that bears on the soul in a person, the spirit of a person, based on whatever amount of money or whatever they're driving. You don't know what issues that person has. I do. I'm subject to all the issues of the people of the state of California, and I'm going to prosecute for that because it's a criminal act. It's a monstrosity of a criminal act. All right. It is currently, again, 7:51 p.m. This is just documenting third-party facilitating venue Motel 6. All of the criminal system. The bully that is the people of the state. All right. That is literally the government that's acting through companies such as Motel 6. This is how the government is able to do it, through the people of the state. There are people that have businesses and they've got, delivery services, that they deliver. They're group stalking. The crime scene remains around me, enabling any and everybody to come and participate in group stalking. Any recently released, like I stated, some rapist released from the county jail can come around in groups, get a room right over here at Motel 6, right around me, and keep me under surveillance, group stalking me all night long. You're going to prosecute for that. That's a threat to your life in and of itself. But you know what's more threatening? The fact that the 17-year-old babysitter, all right, and she is given in society, in this racist society, where there are all of these presumptions about people that are totally unwarranted. Where do we get these things from? Because you've been conditioned, you've been deceived. And the Lord Jesus knows the heart, but man looks at the outer appearance, and it could be very deceptive. So Becky Sue, okay, beautiful long blonde hair, okay, shiny crystal blue eyes. She's a demon, and she's group stalking at the Motel 6. She's a sex offender, a psychopath, a closeted one. And then she goes on again with her girlfriends, and then they go to the mall and they go shopping, and she's with her boyfriend, and that all of that closeted mind space that no one knows about because she's demon possessed. And by no one, I mean her and her little demon possessed friends know about it. They share in darkness. Okay, this is normal conduct. It's normalized in America as well, but it's very demonic and it's dark. Okay, but that's what's group stalking as well. That's even more terrorizing, to be honest with you. Because that the deception is very powerful under those circumstances, because you are deceived by what it is that you're looking at on the surface. You're assuming all these presuppositions based on what somebody looks like, or what they drive, or how much money they make, or who their parents are, or who they're married to, or the size of their wedding ring. All these things that don't matter. Did you know that they're all group stalking me? All of them. Every single last one of them. And that's just the truth. It's currently 7:53 p.m. and I remain at Motel 6. Engineer light remains on my hotel room wall. The impossible light activity, there's no street lamps that would create the pattern of the blinds in my living room window. Like I documented at Alvarado Gardens, there's no street lamps outside that's going to shoot horizontal light through these windows of this hotel, including through the crack where the window and the blinds are. It's going to create horizontal lines on my wall, let alone make that light dynamic. It's the same P.O.C. during the day and at night. This is what is relevant regarding the amplified audible activity that the demon-possessed maintain while they're stalking in the path. It's group stalking. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently 9:05 p.m. and this is documentation of the terrorism by the demon that is remaining in room 232. This is a federal imprisonment of the entire entity. This is, again, the mental illness that acts for the punishment for the entire entity. This is the damage when you are engaging in criminal conduct with a population of mentally ill. The mentally ill will get each other in a lot of trouble. They will intensify their own repercussions, their own punishment. And so this is the demon possessed. The mentally ill engage in more criminal conduct to their own demise. This is the mentally ill that engages in more amplified audible activity, which Motel 6 is going to compensate me for. The terrorism that I'm subject to, the sex offense that I'm subject to, that they are engaging in. They're engaging in terrorism. They are enabling the people of the state to engage in terrorism, and they're all doing it and on behalf of the government. Okay, this is a criminal agency that's underway. And that's why impossible light activity, that's why the fake sun, that's why the state stalking and plane and helicopter criminal summoning is underway. It's the template. And so you're talking about a systematic, streamlined prosecution. And so this demon is engaging in criminal activity on behalf of the whole entity. And I'm going to document Motel 6 because, again, they're going to compensate me. They already know what I'm stating right now. I'm going to call them. I'm dealing with a demon-possessed psychopath who's going to answer the phone and act as though they're ignorant. And they're going to state that they're going to talk to this demon that they're monitoring me with. All of this, they're also going to compensate me for, as I am surrounded by psychopaths and sex offenders and group stalkers who are engaging in the malicious system on behalf with the state. And that audible activity, again, the federal government is not ignorant about what the people of the state know. In the course of the conversation that I'm documenting and the malice with which they act, while they are monitoring to this amplified audible activity inside of my hotel room. That's relevant for how long the employees of Motel 6 are going to federal prison. That's relevant to the compensation and damages that Motel 6 will compensate me with. That's relevant to all the above. So I just want to document again, while I'm publishing documentation, very damning evidence that's currently going on the internet. Today is August 4th, 2024. I am in the process of publishing. I mean, it was damning when I captured it. It was damning when I was stating in the videos, this entity, the demon possessed, have been given warning after warning after warning. They've been given so many warnings. The warning in and of itself exists in the fact that the one whom you thought who you sought to sacrifice, you thought that you were going to silence, you thought that you were going to bully them into a corner. But that's not happening when they're documenting you. That in and of itself, if you were to open your eyes and step out of your demonic, delirious condition and pay attention, maybe you should stop. Maybe this isn't working. Maybe this isn't going in the direction but not, again, this is the mental illness. This is what causes a demon that doesn't have 2 pennies in their pocket to pay Motel 6 to compensate me. They're not going to help Motel 6 compensate me. And nobody's going to do their time for them in federal prison either. And everybody else is getting more time based on what this criminal is engaging in. Because this is what happens when you go in and you rob a bank with your partner. You and your partner are going down together. This is the entire state of California, and all these demons are monitoring to that audible activity. And the hostility that's engaged in by one demon is communicated hostility on behalf of all the demons, by the way. This is demonic activity. Don't forget that. So I want to make sure that I document this. The entity is also monitoring on my phone, encountering all sorts of complications that's relevant to obstruction of justice. This is built into the federal prosecution. This is built into how long you get in federal prison. This is built into the compensation and damages. The entity is always engaged in seeking to obstruct justice, trying to obstruct my ability to upload evidence onto the internet, trying to obstruct my ability to capture podcasts, capture the audible activity, upload it onto the Google Drive, step by step by step. And if they can't stop it, then the demons are going psychotic with amplified audible activity and light activity and helicopter activity and sirens. This is what the entity is doing on an ongoing basis. You're going to compensate me. You're going to federal prison for it. Period. Only the mentally ill. This is the affect on the human being that is demon possessed. The mental illness that is no longer a secret, that will be dealt with and addressed in the natural. The demon possessed, the people of the state, the criminals, the group stalkers, their mental illness is that which is readily, you can diagnose it. And we also know that that which should not be neglected, the fact that it's a spiritual condition, the fact that you need Jesus. You are suffering from a mental illness based on the fact that you need deliverance. And it results in very poor decision making. It results in what are threatening and taking the lives of harming other people around you for no legitimate purpose. You don't need a reason, because you serve Satan because of that condition. That mental illness causes such decision making, causes such defect in people, causes the conduct of sex offenders. These are people that create a public safety concern. That's the mental illness that is manifest with regard to the demon possessed. And it is embodied in the criminal system of federal group stalking monitoring. So I want to go ahead and document this. I'm capturing the malice of the entity that is the people of the state, Motel 6. Stomping. Very loud stomping. Hi, is this Brandon? Hi, Brandon. This is Erica Spencer giving you a call back. I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to speak with 232, but it sounds as though this third party is I'm sensing there's something wrong. The loud noise, it's very disruptive. It's currently 9:10 p.m. and I'm laying in my bed, and it literally sounds like they're just dropping heavy, I don't know what you could have, but like they're dropping things, heavy things on the ground, stomping perhaps, I don't know, but it's abnormal conduct. And this is what I'm stating. Maybe there's something wrong, maybe a chemical imbalance, maybe they're on, I don't know, but it's really loud. Is there a way that I didn't want to find out if you had said anything, because if you did, they clearly disregarded it. Okay, I really appreciate it, Brendan. Okay, thank you. All right, Brandon is group stalking with the demon in 232 and the demon in 129 and the demon in 131 and the demon in 233 and the demon in 231. All the demons that are surrounding me, and they're also surrounding on the opposite side of the wall, the wall that's facing Colorado. The entity is group stalking as one. So I'm dealing with the entity that's in the role of being an employer who's not supposed to. None of them are supposed to be knowledgeable about. It's all within the imagination of the target individual, first of all. That's malice. That's what you're going to prosecute for. That's relevant to the psychological torture. Secondly, the employee is certainly not supposed to be cooperating with your disruption. That's contrary to their role as an employee. Okay, this is the role that the people of the state play. That's called malice. So all of this is recognizable. Clearly, it's inappropriate and unexpected for the company to be in on and aware of and enabling, facilitating this disruption while you're paying to stay in their roach-infested hotel. Okay? So this is understanding the pattern of conduct, because the reality is that Brandon is monitoring me while the engineer light's moving across my wall, just like you saw on video. That's how you know that Brandon is a group stalker. This is the pattern of conduct. And Brandon is just like Kum Lee at Alvarado Gardens, a demon-possessed group stalker who's in the specific environment with the fake sun over me, and engineer light, multiple shadows all around, and engineer light at night. Brandon is not ignorant about the environment that he shares with me, and Brandon is a demon who was group stalking me. So he is also aware of the demon that is in the hotel room that they checked out, that is group stalking. They're group stalking together. Okay. And this is also a documented pattern. So it's 9:12 p.m. where engineer light is moving across the hotel wall. The documentation, you already know exactly what I'm speaking of. And the demon is upstairs pacing. Everybody's going to be prosecuted for this. Remember, it's not just pacing as some hypersensitive. That's monitoring. That's a federal offense. They're engaged in audible activity. That's a federal offense. The government is conspiring to murder and kidnap someone by monitoring them, monitoring their life. Monitoring is audible activity creation in relevant position. You're stalking in the path by being in room 232, which is the origin of the criminal act. You're not free to group stalk by checking out a hotel room, which again is shown to not be free conduct because you're in a specific environment where the state is also stalking. And you're doing so very foolishly while you are in the position of one that is engaging in conduct that is very heavily documented for years. So the federal government knows exactly who you are and what you're doing and all of the intent behind that which you do. That's the fool that's creating amplified audible activity, which I'm going to prosecute Motel 6 for which everybody in relevant position is going to federal prison for as well. Audible activity creation, light activity creation, relevant positioning in the environment where impossible light activity is occurring, relevant position in the environment where the state is stalking directly, creating any sort of activity. All of those are relevant for what is federal prison for engaging in this level of facilitation, such as checking out a hotel where the target individual remains. Because this is how a government does it, by massive cooperation with the people. So disincentivizing that is telling them you're going to federal prison, and not just telling them, sending them. They're all going to federal prison. And so the entity does so everywhere that you're going. And so since the people of the state are convinced that they can stalk someone, conspire to sacrifice or kidnap someone, psychologically torture someone, and then just go about their business in Southern California. That's not true. And this is a new day, and you will promptly find yourself separated from any children that you have custody or access to. You'll find yourself in a cell where animals like you belong, by the way, and you'll find yourself there for a long time, and trying to pick up the pieces of your life whenever you get out, okay? Because you'll have a criminal record as a terrorist, as a sex offender, and there are reverberating consequences for that. And what were the people of the state that on one time incentivized and cooperated in the system, the landscape will change, and the laws are going to change, and it will be such that you cannot lawfully facilitate and enable the government to do this anymore. And you're going to have a problem finding a job. You're going to have a problem finding somewhere to live in a neighborhood where they're going to welcome your type, terrorists and sex offenders that like to target people for no reason. You're not going to find a welcoming arm or shoulder like you have now, pre-federal prosecution, if you will, because the landscape is changing. So I just want to point that out. This is harassment while the entity is, again, these are demons that are hostile while they're monitoring on my phone. Okay. So while I seek to turn off the Wi-Fi, for example, and then restart my Wi-Fi because they're monitoring on the phone, trying to stop or obstruct the ability to access the internet, while I'm uploading evidence of Don Noggle, who's going to federal prison, while he's group stalking me in the workplace, and LAPD flew directly over my head inside of my office. I mean, this damning evidence that I'm publishing on the internet, a psychopath engages in more criminal conduct to the demise of their self and everyone else. Everyone else is going to be prosecuted for that federal offense. Everything you hear, everything that you do, every move you make, which is the malice of the demon system, flipping it on its head. In the same way, everything you do, you're going to be prosecuted for it. So have a good time doing cartwheels in the room. I'm going to document you, and you're going to be prosecuted for impunity and malice. And then when you stand before a judge, a federal judge in court, you know what they're going to listen to? You know what they're going to watch? They're not going to look at your wet face when you're pleading for mercy that you do not deserve, because I did my due diligence in making sure that the federal courts remember how much mercy you did not have, how much you do not actually regret anything that you're doing right now, because this is what counts, your attitude, your energy right now. And while you're engaging in amplified audible activity and engineer lights flying across my wall, that's what the federal judge is going to be reminded about. And guess what? You know who they're going to listen to? They're going to listen to me, the one who is subject to this criminal system, the one whose life is under threat, as opposed to your being regretful because you're caught in federal court on that day. Okay, which again, the short-sighted, checker-minded mindset of a demon that suffers from this mental illness, which is no mental illness such that they don't know any better. No, this is just unintelligence. This is just a lack of wisdom. This is just an inability to take heed, to humble yourself. All right. This is an inability to accept defeat. But this is not a democracy in that you get a vote as to whether you lose or not. You lost, and you're going to suffer the consequences. And the consequences get worse and worse and worse. That's all. It's just going to get more sour for you. It's not going to sweeten at all. All right, so it's currently 9:18 p.m. This is documentation of what is harassment and terrorism by an entity, and the demon in 232 is engaged in criminal activity on behalf of the entire entity. They're doing so while the entity is aiming engineer light on the hotel wall, impossible light activity, which is a communication of a threat. And it's direct evidence against Best Western, who is a facilitating venue. It's an impossible occurrence that light activity is present. It's an impossible occurrence that the light source remained over this hotel room all day long, which is exactly what I documented. And it's in conformity with the pattern of conduct. So, in other words, Best Western is monitoring me with the people of the state. And while the entity is engaging in a sex offense, okay, they're doing so with impunity. That sexual violence, that they engage in with impunity, no federal judge is going to hear your tears or what you have to say in federal court, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't. No one's going to hear you. No one's going to care. Okay. It's currently 9:18 p.m. This is P.O.C. Okay, well, I'm going to, I mean, it's getting late. It's actually burdensome to me to have to like keep calling you and whatnot. So I don't know how you were able to check the room out to them with the language barrier, but I'm just gonna stay in my room. I let you guys know though. I just wanted to let you know that it's like ridiculous. It's like they're standing in the middle of the room and stomping on the floor. So there's nothing in this hotel room that causes me to do anything like that. Like, I'm not jumping. There's that no, you know what I'm saying? I can put myself in another person's shoes and say, oh, well, maybe they're probably, but there's nothing that they're doing that sounds normal. So unless they're on drugs, you know, unless they're up there having a party, you know, there's really nothing that I can't understand why they would be making that level of noise and doing it, like on an ongoing basis. That's all I'm stating. But I wanted to let you know because I am a paying customer, and so if you're stating that you can't do anything about it, then I understand that. No, I'm not happy to hear that, but I understand it. I just wanted to make sure I gathered that I did let you guys know at the front office.
I mean, I can always switch you rooms if you like, if that helps.
Switching rooms would be it's just so late right now. I thank you for offering it. If that's the only alternative you're stating, what is they don't speak Spanish or something, or what? Have you ever used Google Translate? Because that's what I did. I work with people that spoke a lot of different languages, and I use Google Translate.
No, I did tell her because I was telling her like it's too loud, and I was like kind of like banging on, you know, like on the wall.
Yeah.
Show her like visually. But yeah, like I said, I can switch your rooms and I can offer you a discount for the Indians as well.
Yeah, for me to change rooms at this point, it's like I'm tired. I'm getting ready to go to bed, you know, and obviously it's gonna make it hard because of the noise level. But if there is a discount where you can apply, I guess. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, a $10 discount is not going to make a difference with regard to what I've been listening to since yesterday. I didn't want to start calling you guys because I was thinking maybe this person will leave the next day, you know, like maybe they'll check out tonight, but they're doing it again tonight. This is my second night here, so.
I'm gonna play the discount, just pass it on to the manager. Like I said, I did try to go up there and speak to them and stuff and let them know, and I know they're just probably gonna keep it up, and if they do, then like I said, there's always an option to switch your rooms and stuff. But I'll apply the discount now.
Okay, so the option isn't to move them to a different room?
I can also try that. Just speak to the manager, just give her a call and stuff, and then yeah.
I mean, I'm just stating, and I appreciate your calling me back and whatnot, but I'm just, you know, respectfully, it's been my experience to make it as, you know, convenient for me as possible, and so it would be easier to move the disruptive person to another room, you know, whether she can he or she, I don't know who it is, but perhaps they can't understand, but perhaps they need to go to another room where they can't disrupt so many people. Because I don't think that their language barrier has anything to do with the noise level. It doesn't matter what language you're speaking, to be honest with you. But I understand that. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, but I appreciate whatever you can do, Brandon. Okay? Thank you. You have a good night, sir. All right, bye. All right, that's the P.O.C. It's currently 9:24 p.m. All of that's audible activity, and Brandon is monitoring me. Brandon's monitoring me with this demon that's in the room above, and I'm telling him things that are common sense. And again, I'm dealing with this third party, this malicious actor in their alternate universe where federal group stalking and monitoring, a malicious government system, doesn't exist, because whether they move this third party to another room or whether they move me to another room, the amplified audible activity will continue, because the objective of group stalking, the maintenance of engineer light, the maintenance of criminal presence in the path, and all presence is criminal. because the government's engaged in group stalking, that means it's a crime for you to live where you live. You're not free to engage in surveillance on behalf of the government. It's unconstitutional. The government can't do it through you. Where you want to go to work, you're not free to go to work. And so this is breaking all of this illusion. Okay, this malicious system, you're breaking it all the way down. It's a crime for you to be at the mall where I'm at the mall. You're stalking me on behalf of the state. This is showing the malice of what the government is doing in the U.S. And it's supposed to appear as though, again, absent the ability to recognize, what the entity is doing with regard to the demonic aspect, with regard to the masquerading as a free society. Everybody's operating under the freedom of the no. This is a whole malicious system that they're engaging in, and it's unconstitutional. And so the ability to recognize the law and then apply the law to their absurdly criminal conduct. No, you're actually not free to go to work. You're not free to be at this location. It is a public venue, but it is the government doesn't have a right to keep me under surveillance and follow me around. And it's doing it through the people of the state. Everybody there is engaged in a criminal act. That's the size of the violence, the size of the crime that the government's engaging in, group stalking. And you can identify it because everywhere that you're going, the fake sun is there. The specific environment is there. That everybody there is engaged in a criminal act. All right. And that is, again, shattering this free society, this illusion. And the people of the state are abusing and literally exploiting the constitutional rights that the targeted individual maintains. They don't maintain any of those rights in the specific environment. They're literally engaging in criminal conduct in plain view. And that is what I'm going to prosecute to the furthest extent of the law. That is the unfathomable level of a violation of people. And for you to think that you can do it to somebody in their face. And then the entity does it. And I get really upset when I think about, because I'm putting myself in the mindset of the ordinary person, and I see them overwhelmed with what they're approached with. Like, what are you going to do? You're in the mall. That's say you have to work, because you probably don't even want to go out around a whole bunch of people because they're group stalking you. But say you have to go to the mall, or you go to work, everywhere that you're going, in other words, even on the freeway, and you have this hunch that everyone's targeting you, but they're not looking at you. They're not talking to you. And there's a sense of violation, even though you can't really define the basis of it. And how can you really reconcile it? Because they're at the public place. They're at the park like you're at the park. So there's a break there with the inability to really understand and get down to the ability to recognize the malice of the criminal system and reconcile that with the crimes that the entity is committing under existing state and federal laws, and that which needs to come into existence based on what the state is doing, based on what justice requires. Okay. And so that's just getting to understanding malice. Oh my goodness. That's understanding malice to the fullest extent. So that's what the state is doing. And it is what is psychological torture to the ordinary. It's psychological torture, period. To the ordinary target individual, the person, they don't have the words. Okay. They cannot, I can understand them. They're overwhelmed with it. And it's designed to break a person down in every aspect. And that is why I speak the way that I speak with regard to not holding back, because you need to understand the sexual violence. You need to understand the psychological harms. You need to understand the emotional distress, the physical harms that the target individual is supposed to, it's literally designed for that target individual to suffer that. This is why you're doing it. This is why you're doing it in the methods that you're doing it in. Okay, that's a sick person to do that. The whole population is doing it. The government itself, betrayal by your own government. Who are you going to report it to? The person you report it to, they are it's like them being on the football field, hunched over, ready to catch the ball, because they're ready to trap you. They're going to defame you. You're paranoid. They're waiting to defame you. That's the whole design of the system. They're sitting there ready. Who are you going to report it to? The person you report it to is the person that is going to aid in your kidnapping, creating a false narrative about you. Because, first of all, you're in your right mind. But second of all, it's actually quite normal that you don't have the words to even understand or articulate what you're subject to. The entity will flip that on its head and try to make it seem like you're unintelligent, you're paranoid, okay? You're just, you're suffering some mental incapacity one way or another. That's how they're flipping that. No, when actually it's quite normal that you probably don't even have the words to describe what it is that's happening and how it's happening, and you're confused and perplexed as to why it's happening. And at the same time, I don't necessarily know these people, but also people that I do know. And it's when I go to work, when I go to church, when I'm even on the freeway, and people, you have gut instincts about what, first of all, the demonic people that have ill will towards you. Okay. You have gut instincts about these things. And I'm talking about a healthy person. I'm not talking about, okay, there are always extremes. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about the ordinary target individual who does not suffer from mental illness. Group stalking is a real thing. It's a government system. And it's designed to falsely depict that person who is being targeted. And it's the work of Satan. It's designed to make that person look like the sex offender, the stalker, the crazy person, when Satan is the liar, who is in fact the sex offender, the stalker, the crazy person. That's what Satan does. He is the father of lies. All right. So anyway, I'm going to stop here. It's 9:31 p.m. Engineer light is on my wall. The entity is engaging in absurd audible activity. And these are demons. So as you saw on video today, August 4, 2024, in the middle of the afternoon, you saw engineer light moving across the wall and on the ceiling. That's exactly what's happening at nightfall. Okay. And that's called impossible light activity. And you've seen it in every single venue. You've seen it at Alvarado Gardens, in my office, literally outside on the street while people are just driving their cars. You've seen it in the hotel, Town Place Suites by Marriott, in the staircase. You saw it at the DMV in Glendale. You saw it on the roads and the highways at the Social Security office in Los Angeles. You saw it in my car while people are just supposedly just driving by, wanting to make it seem like somebody's a paranoid schizophrenic. That's what the P.O.C is supposed to result in. But you're looking at the impossible light activity that surrounds them. That's the stuff that's designed to terrorize the ordinary targeted individual who cannot describe these things. That's designed to terrorize someone, to scare the living mess out of them. Okay, to put it, I'm not going to speak in high terms, and this is designed for the average person to freak out. It's supposed to scare them. That's wicked. That's a wicked purpose. It is of Satan. Why are you doing that to people for no reason? And this demon that's in room 232, as you saw at Alvarado Gardens, demon possessed of all races. The demon possessed Kumali. She doesn't speak a lick of English, but that demon was in stride with the demons in helicopters under that fake sun amongst that engineered light. Group stalking in the laundry room, beating on the walls like animals, engaging in surveillance in the laundry room. Very disturbing conduct. That's exactly what's going on at a hotel. Your language barrier, your so-called language barrier, let me be clear, Satan knows exactly what you're saying. This is breaking through all the ways in which we in the flesh are conditioned to fix our mind on what is natural. That demon knows exactly who I am and what I'm stating as well. So you're talking about, there's a language barrier. That demon knows exactly every move that I'm making. Knows also what I'm doing on the communication device, and is hostile. That demon that's on that third party upstairs is acting out, creating noise. That is, this person is beating on surfaces with knowledge of what I'm doing on this communication device as I'm uploading very damning evidence. It's very damning. It does not look good at all for the state of California. I'm not even going to exaggerate. The entity flying over me day and night, flying over my head, over my office, over my apartment in helicopter. That's exactly what I'm uploading onto YouTube today on August 4th, 2024. And where I'm at also is a matter of record. And what I'm documenting today while I'm doing that on the internet is relevant for the ongoing criminal pattern of conduct. The entity knows what I was doing while I was subject to this harassment as an entity while they're already group stalking. Okay? This is all a part of the ongoing running record to the demise of the entity, not to the demise of the target individual. That's the purpose of the prosecution of the state of California. The target individual is going to be protected in every regard, protected physically, emotionally, psychologically, and professionally in every regard. Their reputation, everything, every type of harm that the entity seeks to inflict. They're going to be protected and guarded against that, and the laws are going to be designed to accomplish that. So anyway, it's currently 9:34 p.m. and this is P.O.C. All right, I just want to document specific act of harassment by the entity that is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. And the entity engages in harassment by disabling the key cards for the rooms, just like Best Western at Town Place, Economy Inn, heavily documented engaging in this. Again, I was heavily documenting Economy Inn as well. This is how the entity is not only threatening your life, separating you from your property, and the entity has access to your room while you have to go get another key. It's a threat to your life while the entity is threatening and conspiring to murder you. You're outside, and a threat while you're outside of your room. Your only quote unquote shelter. It's really not, because the entity can literally bombard and kidnap you, break into your room, and that's not an exaggeration. While you are living in a bubble and the entity is maintaining a narrative and engaging in a secret criminal system that's targeting you, the entity is very well capable and has engaged in literally kidnapping you, making up the reasons as to why, which conforms to whatever narrative that they want to create. But nonetheless, I want to document Motel 6 as group stalking and monitoring me through an act of harassment. This is disabling the key card. The entity engages in this very heavily, especially while I document them. This is petty. I'm on the surveillance cameras. Brandon, he's got a curly top, olive skin, male. I'm not going to call him a gentleman. Olive skin male, and he's got a black shirt on that says LAFD, which I asked him if that was the demon-possessed LA Fire Department, but he said it's a brand. Nonetheless, just speaking to the fact that they're monitoring me, and this is an act of harassment. It's also a threat. Everything that the entity is doing for their group stalking, crossing path light activity while I'm being molested with multiple shadows all around me, terrorism, and I have to walk back to the office because they're disabling the card. I haven't gone anywhere. The card's not demagnetized. I walked out of my room for 2 seconds. They locked me out by disabling the key card. This is a very petty but heavily replicated method of harassing me, especially while demons are hostile. The demon possessed that are especially losers, okay? You're dealing with all manner of dysfunctional people in their mind. What type of people would engage in this sort of gang stalking conduct? Very petty people that don't like the reflection in the mirror, people that don't like their own lives. I mean, when you're group stalking with your boyfriend, your husband, and your kids, you got issues, okay? So this is the type of people who are very petty, but it's no small thing what the entity is doing while you are faced with a threat. And all manner of demons just come onto the ground to group stalk you. Anybody driving onto the property, which is a threat. These are mentally unstable demons. Okay, the spirit of Satan on them, hostile for no reason. You're subject to being threatened, physically attacked at any moment, and they're locking you out of your room, separating you from your personal items. And it's not a matter of what is your card just randomly being disabled. It's a specific act to monitor you, and it's also a specific act just to harass you. But it's not just the fact that they just want to harass you and annoy you, because they're group stalking you while they're engaging in that act of harassment. And so that's an ongoing threat to my life while I have to walk back, subject to the pattern of conduct. And they want to sexually molest me. I'm being molested with engineer light just because they want me out of the room, and they want me to walk up to the front and walk back, just to monitor, just to harass. So I just want to be clear. Brandon was monitoring me with his audible activity. I'm sorry about and Brandon is going to be very sorry. Not for monitoring, not on the basis of what he was monitoring me with right now, which is nothing other than audible activity. Threatening my life while using the words, I'm sorry, for the demon up above who's monitoring with him. Brandon is going to be sorry because of what I'm documenting, because Brandon's going to federal prison for engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring with the state. Brandon permitted me the ability to look at his face, for which I could provide direct testimony about what he looks like and about the threat that he posed while I was subject to this terrorism, while he was a facilitator working at the venue, subject to what is a sex offense that Brandon is engaging in and facilitating, while my card is being disabled, which is serving to everybody else's demise. Everything that the entity is doing is going to their own detriment. The targeted individual is going to, in every way, be served with justice, okay, with regard to everything that the entity does, okay, on an ongoing basis, because the pattern of conduct is such that the targeted individual is supposed to be suffering with regard to everything that the entity is doing. That whole malicious system, that is over. So everything that the entity does, you can still do it, but only it's showing your mental illness, which you're going to be clinically assessed for. You're going to get mental examinations for it. And the world is going to be educated about your mental illness, which is no longer a secret. They need to know about the threat, the readily capable of, the ability to readily identify the mentally ill based on their demon-possessed condition that they don't want you to know about, which you can identify in the environment and their behavior. All right, and that's speaking to the threat that they pose based on the decision making, based on their intent. That doesn't require a motive. It doesn't require logic. It doesn't require a reason. You don't have to do anything wrong for the people of the state to target you, to sexually violate or offend you, to stalk you. They don't even need a reason to do it. All right. So the entity is engaging in what is a pattern of conduct which Brandon's going to be sorry for, contrary to what he was monitoring me with while disabling my key card. Okay, and there is no there's no point. It's sitting on the table. It didn't touch anything. I walked out for 2 seconds to go buy a fountain drink. And I'm locked out because the entity is gratified while they're monitoring together in order to have me walk up just so they can monitor, so they can touch all of me with engineer light, so they can pace all around by virtue of presence in their rooms while I walk by. Understand how that's crossing a path still. Okay, and then they had a demon driver in the parking lot. A demon was flying in the sky space in a plane, and they're monitoring. That was the P.O.C. So I want to document harassment. It's currently 9:55 p.m. This is P.O.C.